So we have another Watchdives for you here today. Is it as good as the other one I've seen? You're obviously going to have to watch all of this video to find out. But more importantly, why are these watches getting so good and the price is staying so affordable? It's just so easy to buy a watch, very well made, that looks very close to a watch which is, for many people, considerably out of reach. £7,000 plus, for example, with this homage to an Omega. It's so easy to just go, you know what, I like the look of that watch, but I do not want to take a punt on 7 grand. I haven't got that kind of money myself, so why not get something which is going to give you that little bit of an itch scratched, and you can just be smug in knowing you've got something that's still really well made. And there are obvious differences which I will cover in this video, but ultimately £122, is it any good? Let's have a look. So this is the WD1862. This is version 2. They've effectively done some slight improvements to the finishing and the thickness and things like that. That's apparently the extent of the improvements. So a bit of refinement going on. But the retail price on this is £122. I've sized this up to me by taking 4 of these links out, and it now weighs 128 grams with those links taken out on my 7¼ inch very manly wrist. Movement inside here is a VK63 Seiko Mecha Quartz. Sitting on top is a bubble sapphire which has clear AR coating, which is very good. You obviously can't see that. I can't say look at this AR coating because it's invisible, but it works. 100 meters water resistance with a screw down crown here. These aren't screw down, the pushers, but the crown itself is 6.3 mil and it has a signed logo on there. The case size from around about here to here, I measured that kind of the widest point, is 41.7 millimeters. The length of the watch, lug to lug, is 47. The height of the case is 11, including the crystal takes it to just under 13, but it wears like an 11mm watch. Bracelet tapers from 20 down to 16 at the clasp. The clasp is milled. Lots of micro adjust on here. 5 little holes there. Nice small links. I got this to fit me so easily, it's very comfortable indeed. The lume in here is BGW9, a lovely blue hue, reasonable longevity, but I'll cover that in a bit more detail in a bit. You can get this in black or white. I went for the white because I love white dial Omegas. That is your stats and your specs. Before we move on to the likes and dislikes, I'm going to play a little game with you. Let's play a game and spot the difference. Yes, this is something new to the channel because I think homages are fun. Obviously a cut and paste of a design. This is paying extraordinarily strong tribute to an Omega Speedmaster, as we all know. So this isn't a clone because it doesn't say Omega on the dial, and there obviously are differences. What are those key differences? The proportions on the dial are slightly off because of the subdials, very different. The logo is different. The finishing is not quite up to the same standard. The movement inside is not visible through the case back. This is a quartz movement. The Omega has a very lovely manual wind mechanical movement, visible through, again, a beautiful case back. The clasp is different on the Watchdives. There will be lots of micro, tiny differences between the watches. So what are my little nitpicks or nitpicks? I do not like this Watchdives logo. I don't think it's very attractive. I don't like the Mecha Quartz, pointless to me, 24-hour subdial here. I don't like that, it's always annoyed me. I don't like the longevity of the lume on this watch. I don't think it lasts long enough, in my opinion, compared to other, sometimes cheaper Watchdives which I've seen. I think these subdials look ever so slightly too small, but that is due to the limitations of the design available to get this movement and these subdials to work in a watch of this size. They always are going to look this size. Other than that, it's not bad, but it creates a bit too much dead space here above these 2 subdials, and I think it just looks a bit vacant. On my watch, the clasp is pretty sticky. It sometimes doesn't click in fully and I have to really give it a push, and sometimes it's like now it snags a bit for opening. I know that I'll loosen over time. It's just a bit of an annoyance at the moment. Caseback is really plain. I think for £120 they could get away with decorating it. I know Pagani Design do that, but I can live without it. It's just a little nitpick. And a final thing just to pick away at is the overall fit and finish is actually very good. But in hand, when you just feel it around here and just give it a good rubbing, it just doesn't feel quite honed enough. And by honing, I mean the edges are ever so slightly sharp. You know, here, for example, the tips here of the lugs. When you're wearing it, it's comfortable enough, but occasionally I get a few little plucky plucks of the hair through this beautifully made and gorgeous looking bracelet, which doesn't have a chintzy rattle or anything, but it's still a little bit of a hair plucker. That's all I can really complain about for now. Hey Dan, tell everyone what you like about this watch. Is it good? Is Is it really good? Is it amazing? Yes. Overall, it is an amazing watch. I've highlighted the nitpicks, and none of them are deal breakers, and we don't like deals to be broken now, do we? Because the overall delightfulness of this watch comes in its aesthetics, which I know they've stolen. That's the first thing. But the overall feel and the look and the way it's just all been put together makes this feel like a watch way surpassing its £123, whatever I paid. It's extremely good. And that's because of all the specification things all coming together to bring this into another level of expectation. It's just ridiculous. It's getting silly, as I said in the thumbnail, because we all know the specification you can get with these value watches, but we also have an expectation of kind of what to get now. I've seen enough Pagani designs and other brands to know what you can get for your money. But the thing that impresses me most about this is the gorgeous brushing. Just look how smooth that is. It's crisp, a lovely sheen to it. You can tell the quality of brushing by the sheen, and then the polish. It's deep and black and no ripples and consistent. No overlapping of brushing or polishing anywhere. The fitment of these end links are great. There's no wobble in there. There's no obvious bagginess between the links, but this is a lovely design of bracelet, and it allows for some real flexibility, hence probably the hair plucking, because this is like a 5-link bracelet with push pins. It does pluck the odd hair occasionally, but also when it's not plucking my hairs out, very comfortable and breathable. And I like Mecha Quartz. I love the feel of the pushers when you press it. It's got a nice little pop, and you've got the little 5 ticks a second, and then lovely crisp snapback. Just so good. It's as fast as the eye can see, and I love that it's still got the traditional cock and balls there at the 12 o'clock. What's also cool is they've managed to make the dial look like it's made of enamel, and then to contrast with that, the indices and the hands are all matte black. The legibility of this thing is brilliant. This sapphire crystal, I love the bubble and the fact it's got AR coating, so it's still so legible in all light conditions. It's absolutely spot on for that. I think they got the proportions just right with this. Really nice. Case is only 11mm, like I said earlier, and with the bubble crystal, it's such a good overall size for an average man's wrist. It doesn't look too long. It doesn't sit off the wrist too high. There's a reason why these designs are classic. They've got it right. And that's why people just cut and paste and steal the designs, because they got it right. Just the overall fit and finish is so surprising, so good. I love this bezel here. The way it chamfers in, high polish, lovely aluminium insert in here to give it that retro charm. They could have slapped ceramic in there, but I think it just made it a bit too glossy and a bit too blingy. This helps soften it down a bit, tone it down. And then the lume, I said earlier, it's not that bold, but the colour of it's gorgeous. And because it's so slim and the tiny little dots, it's always going to be a bit of a problem. As you can see here, it's been just charging under the studio lights, and it's a gorgeous colour, strong enough to give a bit of afterglow off of the dial. But those little dots, all the markers, are way too small. But that's just the way it is. It's the way it's been designed. And I love you get this bit of distortion through the crystal with the lume and things like that, and it's just playful. So would I recommend this watch? Of course I would. If you're in the market for an homage watch and you're okay the fact it is just basically a clone with a different logo, you will love this. It's fantastic. It's just hits all the right markers, and you can't go wrong for this kind of money. Happy days.